On this week's episode of the WNP podcast, we share the most intriguing storylines for the 2022 season. Stay tuned. Episode 145 of the We're Not Professionals podcast. I'm your host, Mike Mitchelson, and joining me today, as always, my co-host, Chase Crawshaw. Chase, how are you today?
I'm doing so great. How are you?
Well, that's not
that threw you off, didn't it?
That's not how it's supposed to go.
But in reality, I actually am. I am doing swell. Thank you for asking.
No problem.
Did I spook you a little bit there?
Yeah. I thought you might have. I'm trying to fix my damn microphone. If you're looking on the frickin' YouTube, you'll see why. Yeah. I need the people to see my beautiful face, and this thing was just in the way. There we go.
You know, if I wouldn't have started so funky, this wouldn't have been so discombobulated.
It wouldn't. And
I'm happy.
I'm bleeding now.
Oh my!
You see that? What is happening?
Okay, that's the last time I ever try to be cute.
What a start to the show. Producer, give me a Band-Aid. Come on. We don't have a producer.
No, we do not. We have the perfect setup for one, though. We really do.
Right? The window right there.
You get a high top, back there, and it could really.
And he's got the soundboard instead. He's controlling everything.
Yeah, this could really be great, but people aren't willing to move here and edit and do all that stuff for free. I don't really get it.
That's a great point.
It's weird.
Speaking of great points, after the show last week, I got yelled at a bit. George is not very happy that we completely neglected him last episode. So, George, how are we today? Hope you're feeling a little better. You're okay. You're going to abstain from wearing the headphones. That's fine. That's fine. You can hear us just fine. But George not very happy with me.
He doesn't need to be so sassy about it.
Right? Didn't even welcome him to the show yesterday or last week, and now it seems like he doesn't even want to be on the show. So
yeah. I guess that's fair. George, it was a pleasure knowing you. We're gonna find someone bigger and better.
It's gonna be kind of hard to find bigger, but
yeah, that's fair.
Maybe Ellie the elephant.
Ellie the elephant. There we go.
All right. Well, on today's episode of the WNP podcast, talking some NFL news. I'm also going to have Chase react to there's a top 10 list that I want to go over. See your reactions to that. And then we've got our top 5 storylines of the season. Chase and I both have 2 of our own that are separate. And then we both share a common storyline that we're very excited for, so we'll talk about that as well. So, going to be a fun episode. Might be a little bit of a quicker episode, not the normal hour 10-minute video. So, hey, you might actually enjoy this a little more. Who knows? Maybe they like seeing our face that long.
I mean, everyone loves seeing our face. Of course they do.
Let's start off with NFL news. Kari Willis and John Penasini both retire. Both very young players. And we wish them nothing but the best, and hopefully they enjoy their time off because they retired so they could go pursue other things.
Yeah, so John Penasini, I don't really know. I think he just wants to...
I think it's family.
Yeah, just move on. He feels like it's not really for him anymore. Kari Willis is going to, try to expand his relationship with God and preach the gospel. So... Whatever you want to do in life, I'm a big proponent of just finding, your way to be happy. So if this is what's going to make both these gentlemen happy, then that's great.
Absolutely. Next up, we got Minkah Fitzpatrick. He gets paid. A big deal. It's 4 years, $73.6 million. That's $36 million guaranteed and an average of $18.4 million per season. This will make him the highest paid safety in the NFL. I don't love it just because Jesse Bates is still on the franchise tag. But Minkah rightfully gets his money.
He's almost making as much as we do for doing these podcasts.
That's true.
He's close.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But that just shows how cheap we are. We want to make a producer work for free, but we make $20 million per year
right.
podcasting.
I don't know if he necessarily deserves this much. I think he's an awesome safety.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's the best safety in the league.
No, but here's what it is nowadays. If you're like a top 10 at any position at any point, once it's your turn to get paid, you're just the next highest paid because that's just what teams got.
Or if you're Christian Kirk.
Yeah, or
where you're like, maybe top 67.
I don't know exactly what the stat was, but it was something like, I don't know if it was catches or like yards, whatever it was, or yards per catch, like above expected. So it's like an advanced analytics thing. And Christian Kirk was second in the stat, only behind T. Higgins.
You know why?
Why?
Because they didn't expect him to catch the ball at all.
I guess that's fair. I guess that's definitely fair.
So, all right. Anyways, we now go to Chase Reacts. This will be a fun one. You've got no idea what's going on.
Yeah, I have zero idea.
Zero. I put this in the doc like 30 seconds before we started.
Yes.
Kevin Patra, a Around the NFL writer, he came out with his 10 best new veteran quarterback wide receiver combos heading into the 2022 NFL season. So, for example, it's if a wide receiver changed scenery or a quarterback changed scenery, whichever way it goes, it's the new connection between new quarterback and new wide receiver.
So like Brady Evans or Chase Burrow, like that, those can't exist.
Right. Okay. Exactly. Those will not be here. So we'll go 1 to 10. He has the article laid out in that fashion. His number one most looked forward to QB wide receiver new duo is Derek Carr and Devontae Adams.
Yeah, that's not really much of a surprise. I mean, we saw them in college, and they were both very successful collegiate football players, and were drafted as such. So hopefully that they can just continue, the chemistry they had in college and be strong. Because I did trade for Devontae Adams in Dynasty, and I took him in another Dynasty too. So it would be great if he can have a hell of a season, because I do think Devontae Adams is probably the league's best receiver.
Mm-hmm. Very exciting for that one. I know I've got some Raider fans in my family. They're thrilled about it.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's probably 50-50. I feel like they were 50% thrilled they got the best wide receiver in the league, 50% thrilled they couldn't waste another first-round pick.
Yeah.
So
yes, that is fair.
Like it's a win-win for them over in Las Vegas. But let's now talk about the number 2 ranked new duo. This one, a little bit surprised. You've got Russell Wilson, of course, but Jerry Jeudy is the wide receiver that Kevin has here instead of the likes of a Courtland Sutton.
I hope so. I really do, because I'm a Jerry Jeudy guy. I got him in a Dynasty League in the Source Draft, same league.
Surprise.
Well, look at that. Because I really wanted to get him in Dynasty League because I do believe in the talent, so I was happy to finally do so. But I really don't know. I really feel like at the end of the day, Courtland Sutton is going to be the number one.
And Kevin does say Denver has several receivers with the talent to break out, including Courtland Sutton, KJ Hamler, and Tim Patrick. But Jeudy is the best bet to see his stock rise with Russell Wilson in town. We'll move on to number 3. This one feels a little high to me. You can disagree with me if you want, but it is Matt Ryan and Michael Pittman coming in at the number 3 new duo.
Like, I can get it, just especially since people are so high on Michael Pittman, who I think he's still a good receiver, but maybe not as high as some people are. And Matt Ryan, it still shows that he can throw the ball. So as long as he can continue to throw the ball, then yeah, it could be a pretty good combo. I mean, upgrading from Carson Wentz is definitely a big thing for Pittman. So I can rock with it, I guess.
Number 4, I think a duo that would be phenomenal. Way more excitement around this one than the number 3 duo. That is if we actually see it. It's Deshaun Watson and Amari Cooper. Obviously, the Deshaun Watson situation we know about. Not sure if he's going to be on the field. However, Deshaun Watson, the football player, plus Amari Cooper would be a lot of fun to watch.
I mean, who the hell was the number 2 again?
Number 2 was Russell Wilson and Jerry
that's
Jeudy.
Right. I would say D. Watts and Cooper are my number 2 over them as well. As long as D. Watts can play, hopefully. For whatever reason, he didn't do those things and can play football. But right now, every day it seems less and less likely that that's the case. So if he does play, then that's just got ridiculous potential.
Yeah. I still think it's kind of crazy that Cleveland got Amari Cooper for a 5th-round pick and also received a 6th-round pick back.
Yeah, well, which I know he's getting paid a lot of money, but at the end of the day, Amari Cooper is a very talented NFL wide receiver who is worthy of getting paid that money. And if he's paired with D-Watts, he's a guy that can be a 15, 16 yards per catch, 1,600-yard receiver, like legitimately.
Number 5, unconfirmed, but probably confirmed, the shortest new duo. We've got Kyler Murray and Marquise Brown coming in at that 5 slot.
Yeah, I mean they were another college connection type thing. I for whatever reason feel weird about Kyler this year. I don't know why.
Agreed.
It's just a feeling I have. Hopefully I'm wrong, and that could be a good one because that could be a potential absolute breakout for Marquise Brown if it does happen out that way, especially with D-Hop's not going to be playing the first few games. But I don't know. It seems a little iffy to me for some reason.
Question for you: do you have Kyler Murray in your top 10 quarterbacks right now?
He'd be right around there. I don't. If I had to sit down and do it, I don't really know. I did a couple weeks ago, but some things to change in my opinions, and I can pull it. I don't have it right here, but I can pull it up and see. But if I want to recall, he was somewhere in that 10 to 12 spot.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't put a whole list together. We're actually thinking about maybe doing our top 10 quarterbacks here in the near future. But I feel like Kyler would not make that top 10 mark for me right now. He might. Yeah, but as of right now, I'm not sure.
It's a talented league nowadays. So,
it is.
So it takes a lot to be up there.
Yeah, and Trey Lance, he's in your top 3 already.
He's in my top 1.
A little bit shocked.
No, my top 2. Sorry, he's not above Josh.
Yeah.
Not above Josh.
A little bit. I like how you just said not above Josh.
Yeah.
That's my boy, Josh. All right, number 6, you've got arguably a top 3 wide receiver in the league, Tyreek Hill, with a bottom 3 quarterback in the league. Okay, let's not go that far, but Tua Tagovailoa.
I thought that you were going to say Tyreek and Teddy Bridgewater since he's the better quarterback on that team. But, yeah, now, you hear at least Tyreek, even if he is lying, just straight-face lying to the media, at least he's ride or die for his QB saying he prefers Tua's accuracy over Mahomes. That's just not true. Let's be honest.
No, it's not.
But at least he's got his quarterbacks back no matter what. That's good to see. And that should lead into a lot of trust between those two. So I would assume Tyreek is a 120 plus at minimum target type guy. That seems like a locked and loaded as long as he stays healthy. It's just, can Tua get him the ball? Can he get him the ball deep downfield? Is he going to be as explosive? He's going to have to work a lot more underneath, a lot more on some more shallow routes. Mm-hmm. But he's still a talented receiver at the end of the day. I don't think it's going to be a problem for him.
Number 7, I'm surprised this one isn't higher just because of the hype both of these players get. I mean, you and I don't really share the hype, but people in fantasy and just around the media seem to love these two players, Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown.
I had a feeling
they're coming in at number 7. Kevin Patra kind of agrees with us. Should be a little bit lower than some of these others.
So I'm a little more in on Jalen Hurts this year for a fantasy aspect, but in terms of actual quarterback play, nothing's changed for me. I think he's going to throw the ball more because he has to, because teams are going to be planning for him to run the ball. And they traded for A.J. Brown. They had Devontae Smith. They had Dallas Goedert. They have to throw the ball. So by default, there's going to be more passes. Sure, it could work out, but I think Devontae Smith's better than A.J. Brown. I really do. And A.J. Brown's still going to get treated like the number 1 guy because that's what they traded and paid him as. Traded for and paid him as. So he'll get used as the number 1 guy. He'll get doubled. Devontae Smith's going to have a better season.
Whew. Okay. I like the opinions there. And number 7 is where we take a little break from what would be assumed most likely a wide receiver 1, QB1 connection. We now move to a QB1 wide receiver 2 connection in LA with Matt Stafford and Allen Robinson.
It's got potential. I mean, Allen Robinson's never played with a good quarterback. He did last year Justin Fields, but Matt Nagy was calling plays. So it eliminated any chance of seeing anything work. But when Allen Robinson's been on the field pretty much every season, he's been a 130 plus target guy, and I think really it's not going to change. I would expect the Rams to probably be in the top 5, if not top 3, if not number 1 in pass attempts this year. I think they're going to throw the hell out of the ball just because it's such a talented throwing room in the running back room right now with Cam Akers. It could be a little shaky depending on his recovery process. So I'm looking forward to it. I would probably say I would have to put this above Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown for sure. I might even put this above Matt Ryan and Michael Pittman. Mm-hmm. I think this one could end up being a pretty fun one.
I got to say, it really stinks that the Chicago Bears kind of, maybe it's not the same for you and the people watching, but they really kind of ruined my perceived image of Allen Robinson. I think he's still a great player, but when he was in Jacksonville with the boat, loved him. He was legit a top 5 favorite wide receiver of mine. Now he's just kind of an afterthought for me, and it stinks because I think he's super talented. This is a guy that I love seeing actually play the game, but the Bears kind of just ruined that for me.
Hopefully it comes back this year.
Yeah. And might be able to do it with Matty Stafford. Number 9, Tom Brady and Russell Gage. To me, this one makes me think, okay, the list is really running out of steam. I tend to lean a little bit higher in the rank 10, but we'll get to that. What do you think about Russell Gage teaming up with the GOAT?
Analytics, Russell Gage was like he had a lot of good separation numbers and good catch rates last year. So he's a better receiver than perceived. And Tom Brady called this dude up and said, like, I need you to play for me when Chris Godwin's hurt. And maybe he'll overtake Chris Godwin.
Yeah.
No, maybe not that. But Chris Godwin's going to be hurt, so Gage is going to get the targets like to start the year, him and Mike Evans. But I think Mike Evans is going to be like that dude. Like he's someone that he can be double, triple covered. You're still going to throw him the ball because he's going to come up with it. So I think that there's targets to be there. You know, maybe there's like a 6 to 7 targets per game type pace for Russell Gage first few weeks. But once Godwin's back, it's going to drop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Russell Gage slightly better Tyler Johnson, who they already had on the team. So maybe just rock with him because I got him in fantasy.
Maybe more than slightly better. By maybe definitely more than slightly better.
I don't know about that. All right, let's go to the 10th and final new duo. That is quarterback 1 and wide receiver 1, Carson Wentz and Terry McLaurin.
I mean, I'm looking forward to Terry McLaurin being a football player, hopefully on a different team. And I know they came out today that said they're not trading him, like it's not happening. But maybe
contract talks are far apart, apparently.
Yeah, maybe he'll go get to play somewhere else and not have to catch a ball from Carson Wentz or try to catch a ball from Carson Wentz that ends up nowhere near him.
I mean, Carson Wentz is a much better thrower of the football than anyone Terry McLaurin has ever played with at the NFL level.
I mean, he had Taylor Heineke.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hey,
exactly.
Hey, he had Fitzmagic. Fitzmagic is a great thrower one game of the year.
And he got injured before that one game.
Yes.
So I get...
It's definitely fair, though.
I get why there's Carson Wentz hate. And our buddy Chris thinks Carson Wentz is the scum of the earth.
Yeah.
Literally thinks that Paxton Lynch could come in and start over him right away. I don't go there. I think Carson Wentz, especially looking at some of the starters around the league, Carson Wentz definitely still deserves to be a starter. If Sam Darnold still has a job, Carson Wentz should.
Yeah, that's fair.
Marcus Mariota does, Carson Wentz should. If Jacoby Brissett does, which he likely could, Carson Wentz should.
But it's not by choice. Well, it kind of is by choice, but it's not by like direct choice.
Kind of, though, if they don't go out and trade for Jimmy G.
Which they're going.
That's their fault.
If D Watts gets that suspension, they're gonna try to trade for Jimmy G.
All right, well, let's now swing that into our top 5 situations. We'll start with number 5. This is one of yours, and it is the Cleveland Browns.
Yes, it is. So the reason I'm looking forward to the storyline is I'm looking forward to watching this team fail because D Watts is going to get suspended, a guy who I loved so much before all this shit came out. Another word to use than that, really, because it's what it makes you feel like when you're reading this stuff. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it's just such a waste of talent. And they go out, trade away a ton of assets, pay all this money, and now they're going to be out these assets. They're probably going to be able to find a way to avoid this money if they need to. But he's going to be suspended for at least this year, maybe longer. And it's going to be really bad because if Jacoby Brissett's the starting quarterback, like we've seen him play, it's not good. It's really bad. I've got zero faith in him, and I'm really looking forward to see how this all unfolds because I think we could see quite a few Browns players if that happens. Like a few weeks in the season start, maybe see a Myles Garrett request a trade. Maybe we see what's his nuts in the backfield there. Home run blank on defensive back.
Denzel Ward?
Yeah, maybe we see Denzel Ward request trade. Maybe we see some key players on the team.
If Denzel Ward requests a trade after getting a big contract, then I like it. I like it a lot.
maybe something like that happens, and this really could go so many ways with all the variables that are in the air right now, and it's gonna be very interesting to watch because we don't know how it's gonna unfold quite yet.
Yeah, the only thing I'm a little bit worried about is I do have Nick Chubb in a dynasty league, and if it's Jacoby Brissett, Nick Chubb's not. I mean, he's going to have the volume, but the efficiency is not going to be there. I mean, stacking the box is going to be such an obvious call against the Browns.
Nick Chubb's going to have a career high in carries, and his efficiency is not going to drop that much. It's not going to drop that much. He's still going to be a 5-yard per carry guy.
I mean, he's really good, but I don't know. And if Jacoby Brissett is the guy, what are we looking at record-wise? 6-11?
Maybe.
Really? I think their defense is good enough to win some games.
It's hard to win 6 games strictly off of defense with no quarterback play in the NFL nowadays. The way the other teams have the quarterbacks play, it's really hard to do.
How many did the Lions get this year?
3. Right? Yeah, 3.
Well, Jacoby is double the quarterback Jared Goff is.
Okay. He might be 1/32 of them.
Yeah, I mean, this is a storyline I'm going to keep up with, obviously, because Cincinnati Bengals, kind of in the same division. So, going to be looking forward to this. Wasn't my favorite, though. That's why we let you have the storyline. Let's head over to my first storyline. And this kind of will lead into our third storyline, okay? This is the return of the New York Football Jets. Not the New York Football Giants, but the New York Jets. I'm looking so forward to watching this team. I think Zach Wilson, he really started to show some promise towards the end of the season last year, and they added a ton of weapons for him. The other second-year quarterbacks, you can't really say the same because, sure, you got Christian Kirk, but what else did they do for Trevor Lawrence? Not much. Justin Fields, what'd they do? Oh, they got rid of their best wide receiver. So the Jets, they went in the complete opposite direction. They decided to build around Zach Wilson. They bring in Breece Hall, my running back 1, Garrett Wilson, my wide receiver 1. They add multiple tight ends, CJ Uzoma, Tyler Conklin, added Jeremy Ruckert through the draft. The offensive line, a little bit questionable, but I don't know if you saw Mekhi Becton today. He was wearing a, what was it? Big bust shirt.
Yeah.
And it said lazy and all that stuff. And he said he's very confident in where he's at right now. And he thinks people should really stop doubting him. I think the offensive line has a lot of talented pieces like Elijah Vera Tucker, like Mekhi Becton. Could even mention Laken Tomlinson. This is just a team overall, I think, really beefed up their roster. And is a team I would not be shocked if they were fighting for a playoff spot late in the season.
Disagree. I know.
You think they're going to be bottom of the league again?
Well,
Zach Wilson has to be a bigger bust than Sam Darnold for that to happen.
We're going to hit on the quarterback last through the transitions into topic 3, spoiler alert. But the rest of the team around him, the offensive line, I don't have really any faith in.
Any faith.
I really don't.
Even though you had AVT as a top guy, Mekhi Becton as a top guy when it came to their draft classes.
It just didn't look good last year, and I hope I'm wrong. I really do, but I don't know. I just don't, not good vibes coming out of it right now. It's definitely a team that has to prove it in almost every single way that they can do it. They haven't really proven yet they can do it in any single way, so they're going to have to find a way to do that. But the receiving core is talented, but it's a lot of mouths to feed. So, if you're looking in terms of fantasy aspect, I don't think any of these guys are going to be guys you want. That tight end group, I'm glad you said they added tight ends. Glad you didn't say they had good tight ends because that is not a good tight end room.
CJ was pretty good last year. What did he finish?
CJ was.
My phone's right there.
CJ, so. Yeah, I don't know. CJ was perfectly fine for Joe Burrow-led offense. Joe Burrow and Zach Wilson are very different quarterbacks.
They are, but I think we need to look at this as a football perspective, not a fantasy perspective. Wait. You saying there being so many wide receivers, that's too many mouths to feed, so don't go for them in fantasy. I think too many mouths to feed at the NFL level is a good thing.
No, it's fine. I literally made one point and I was trying to move on from there.
No, wait. It's a good thing. And it's so not fine.
The tight ends they're nothing more than just average NFL tight ends.
Okay.
And when you're looking at the running back, it certainly helps. When you look last year, the Rams, they had Gerald Everett, right?
They had Tyler Higbee, but he was injured in the playoffs, so he didn't even play.
Yeah, no, but
so elite tight end.
Yeah, hey, Kendall Bland, that was his name, right? Yeah, absolute legend. But it just as a whole, the defense, it's there's some solid pieces there, but it's young. It's super young. I think it's a team that's this year probably isn't the year. Probably need another year. Add a couple more pieces. Maybe you can take steps in the right direction, but I don't think it's a team that we're quite going to see that jump that you're expecting.
I don't know if going from what they finished with 4 or 5 wins. I don't know if going from 4 or 5 wins to 8 is a huge jump. Let me check their regular season record right here. I don't think it's a huge jump, and I think that they finished with 4 wins. I think of any team in the NFL right now that could see that Cincinnati Bengals like jump. Who is it more than the New York Jets? Like, they added so many pieces, and not only on the offensive side, which I talked about, extensively, but they also added Jermaine Johnson, who was you were a huge fan of. Mm-hmm. They added Ahmad Gardner, who was arguably the cornerback 1 in the draft class. I know some people had him too. They're getting players back from injury, and obviously you can't really count on injuries being a huge factor in projections, but this is just a team that makes me feel similarly to how I felt about the Bengals last year. And it's that you've got a lot of talent. Yes, you haven't proven anything yet, but if you're going to prove anything, this is probably the year.
Yeah, I don't believe in it. I don't necessarily agree. I don't necessarily believe. I think they are going to need another year, a couple more pieces, a couple guys just getting more NFL experience, and I really don't have Zach Wilson. I have him playing better because, especially how the first half of the season went, you can't really play much worse. Mm-hmm. But I think as a whole, the season should be better, but I could very well see a case where it remains about even.
And now I think this is a storyline that you're more intrigued in because we have this disagreement. So it'll be fun to continue to watch it develop over the season. And you talked about quarterback Zach Wilson. That is our number 3 storyline. We're looking at second-year quarterbacks as a whole. Mm-hmm. You mentioned before the show, we've got 6 second-year quarterbacks currently in line to be the starters for their teams. Who do you want to start with?
So I don't know how we should do this because you could just you can rank it 1 through 6 and go from there. We can jump random order. There's just so many different expectations, so many different hopes, and different ways a lot of this can go.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we start in the AFC East, because we've already talked about one, and the other one is probably the least enticing that we're interested in.
That's fair. So if I was ranking my of the top 6, the one that we already talked about, Zach Wilson, is my 5th or 6th quarterback of the second-year QBs.
I think he's my 3rd.
Which, because
are we ranking them based on how we think they're going to perform?
Yes.
Okay, I think 3rd.
Okay, that's that's where our big difference is. Mac Jones is, he played well last year for a rookie, as expected. It was the guy that you felt the most comfortable about starting day one and just being able to transition in because he played a very traditional style quarterback, and it's kind of what happened. He played pretty well. Can't really complain. Wasn't world breaking. Wasn't terrible. He played good football for the Patriots, but I kind of got a feeling he's going to regress a little bit this year because the team around him, the weapons are just so bad. And yeah. I think Belichick's starting to realize that, wow, Brady really did make this much of a difference. The defense still plays great, and the defense is really what's going to help the Patriots win games this year. I think the offense is going to struggle mightily. They have too many running backs. No one's going to be able to get in the field enough to really generate enough momentum. So it's going to be a lot more pressure on Mac Jones, and I really think he's going to fold this year, but it's going to be interesting to watch.
So with all that being said, you still have the Patriots over the Jets?
By a 1-win difference.
Okay.
I have right now. I have the Patriots at 8-9 and the Jets at 7-10.
I want to look up Mac Jones' final stats real quick because I don't know if Mac Jones necessarily regresses, but rather just stays the same.
Yeah. Which I would consider that a regression because you're expected to progress going into your second year.
Because he started off hot last year, as we know, was playing very well, and then kind of fell off a little bit. He had 3,800 yards, 22 touchdowns, 13 interceptions.
3 interceptions. That'd be not too bad. But yeah, that's a nice rookie year.
Yeah,
very nice rookie year.
I think that we could see something very similar. I feel like interceptions might even get a little bit lower. Maybe we're looking at 3,800, 25, and 11.
Yeah, and
nothing huge.
I think that's the best it can be. I really don't project much more than that. So from that point, want to move on to so we got 2 more AFC quarterbacks, and then we got 2 NFC quarterbacks. So just talk about the 2 AFC guys, right?
Sure.
So
let's start with the least favorite one.
Yes, the guy who I would debate putting him over Zach Wilson, because I saw enough from Davis Mills last year to believe that the talent is there. You saw the talent in college, but it was so unbelievably inconsistent that you didn't know if he could find that consistency. Where last year he showed some levels of it. He had he had one really strong game. I can't remember who. They had some games where it's like, okay, this isn't great, but then he had a lot of can't complain games. And I think that's what you're gonna get from Davis Mills. It's just a quarterback who offers maybe a little bit of dynamic ability, but it's just he's gonna give you can't complain football. But it's gonna be a shame because I think his numbers are going to be a little funky this year, because I think he's going to have a lot more pass attempts, more interceptions, because they're going to be playing from behind almost every single game. They're going to be really fighting. He's going to have to throw more deep balls, and his numbers are going to be bad, and he's going to get replaced, and it's not going to be his fault because he's someone who's better than at least a fair share of starting quarterbacks in the NFL right now.
Am I hearing the same argument for Davis Mills that you had for your favorite player of all time? Former Jags quarterback Gardner Minshew?
Dude,
is this a Gardner Minshew situation?
It really is, because it's a team where Gardner Minshew, maybe he was better like being kept and starting over Trevor Lawrence, to be honest. Like maybe like I would have started Trevor Lawrence from day one and would have given him starting reps the whole summer. But if you were going to keep Gardner Minshew like they did for most of the summer, maybe just keep Gardner, let him start week 1 and see how it goes from there. Like make him a starter and let Trevor Lawrence just not have to be forced into it right away. Maybe that would have been better for him. I don't know. That's obviously a hindsight thing, but it's kind of the same type of argument where I think there's more talent in Davis Mills than Gardner Minshew.
Oh,
I really do. He looks like a better thrower. Gardner Minshew is just an exciting player by the way he plays. And if Davis Mills gets replaced because the team gets 2 wins this year, like it's very well possible. It's one of the worst rosters I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. I hope he gets an opportunity somewhere else.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think that he's going to be like the shining light on a terrible football team. I feel like he's going to be average to below average and likely to get replaced because he didn't show anything excellent. Kind of like Gardner Minshew. You know, you had a lot higher opinions on Gardner Minshew than I did. I think the same with Davis Mills. I think really enjoyed watching him in his rookie season. And if they get a couple of wins, great. Davis Mills is definitely sticking around. But I don't think he's going to be like... I don't think he's going to be the best player on their team. I don't think he's going to be the best player on that offense.
No, Brett, it's Brandon Cooks.
I don't know if he's going to be a top 3 player on that offense. Damian Pierce, baby.
Yeah, I'm not going to go that far.
So, I mean...
I can't do that.
This is the guy I'm least looking forward to. Mac Jones, I think, is a little bit boring, but the Davis Mills storyline I'm just not really interested in. The only thing that interests me is what's bigger, Davis Mills' neck or Peyton Manning's forehead?
It's a good debate.
Isn't it?
It really is.
Let's now move to Trevor Lawrence, the number 1 overall pick for the Jacksonville Jaguars last year. Didn't perform how we expected.
Yeah, of my year 2 quarterbacks coming into this year, he's my 2nd ranked quarterback.
Let me guess who your number 1 is.
Yeah, you know what my number 1 is. And it's hard to say that because of like how it looked last year. It didn't look very good. Trevor Lawrence looked bad. The Jags looked bad. The offense looked bad. Everything looked bad. But you got to keep in mind, they hired the worst coach you could have hired. I said it from day one. It was a terrible hire, and sure enough, look how it worked out. Darrell Bevell is not a good enough offensive coordinator. I mean, like, he was here for the Lions. I was not the biggest fan. And it didn't work. Like Trevor Lawrence was, put in bad situations, horrible offensive line play, really not enough help around him. Especially when James Robinson got hurt too. Things, he really had no help anymore. No James Robinson, no ETN, so no running back situation. No, the wide receiver talent wasn't there. No tight ends, no offense line. There's nothing for him on offense at all. He's a very talented receiver. You can see it in his big moments, like his flash moments. They were there. You saw what you saw in Clemson, and I think that we're going to see more of that this year. I think it's going to take him really till year 3 or 4 in the NFL to get to a more consistent star player in the NFL, like that type of player. But I think we're going to see pretty big jumps from him, like, especially compared to last year. I see him being, at least like a 20-plus touchdown guy, a much better TD interception ratio, someone who's going to be he's probably going to be a 4,000-yard passing quarterback, maybe just around that area.
You think he still has that top 5 ceiling?
It's tough because you have Joe Burrow, because you have Justin Herbert, because you have Josh Allen, because you have Patrick Mahomes. those 4 guys right there, I think, are kind of cemented in that spot. So that 5th guy, it's anyone for the taking. Sure, you could say that it's there, but I just it's hard to say because it looked so bad last year.
Mm-hmm. 2 quick things not involving the actual play on field. Trevor Lawrence's real name is William.
That's really random.
I did not know that. His name is William Trevor Lawrence. Trevor is his middle name. Interesting. Did not know that. Secondly, I'm very worried he's going to cut the hair. I'm worried he's going to have maybe another strugglesome season. He's like, all right, I got to change it up and cut the hair. And if he does, bust.
I mean, we saw when Tom Brady cut his hair. He went on to win like 6 Super
That's
Bowls.
Tom Brady. Let's talk about Justin Herbert when he cut his hair. It didn't look great, and then he grew it back out, and he was much better again.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know. I've never seen Trevor Lawrence with short hair, so I don't know. But
no one has.
Yeah, that's fair.
Let's go back to middle school.
Yeah, it's probably still not even. But I do have a lot of faith in him this year. It really is faith at the end of the day because he didn't show a lot last year, but he did show signs that he can do it. So hopefully Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, Marvin Jones, Laviska Shenault, Travis Etienne, James Robinson when he gets back, Evan Ingram. Hopefully those are enough weapons on top of the offensive line being a year older. Maybe Walker Little can start getting a little more action. Maybe Cam Robinson plays a little better. Hopefully all that comes to fruition. And the defense, now that they got some nice young defensive players in there like Devin Lloyd, like Chad Muma, like maybe the defense can play a little better and take a little bit of pressure off of them.
That's 2 linebackers, though, so bust of a draft.
No, yeah, that's a good point. My bad.
Trevor Lawrence is one of the 2 sophomore quarterbacks that I just can't wait to watch play. Like, I don't know if he has a huge leap. I really hope he does. I think that's where I'm confident with Zach Wilson because I saw flashes from him too, but then his team decided to build around him. I'm very worried the Jags didn't do enough for Trevor Lawrence, but I'm super excited to watch him. The second player we'll talk about here in a second, just I'm still nervous about it. It's a nerve-wracking situation.
It is because Justin Fields didn't really look as great as you expected last year. As a thrower, kind of disappointed. As a runner, he did look better when he did run, but
there was a couple of plays.
Yeah, but he didn't run as much as I thought he was going to by any means. I thought he was going to be more mobile, but he played more like a Russell Wilson, which is fine. But Justin Fields has too much athleticism to play like that. He needs to run the ball more. On top of being more confident as a thrower, it just sucks that his weapons are terrible. I mean, he's got Darnell Mooney, who I think is a very, very, very talented NFL wide receiver. But then the other receivers are Velus Jones or Byron Pringle or whoever the hell wants to step up from that point. At tight end, Cole Kmet. I like Cole Kmet. I don't love Cole Kmet. Just a solid football player. Someone that you shouldn't expect more than 50, 60 catches from. And then out of the backfield, you got Dave Montgomery, Khalil Herbert. Those guys are going to get reps, and it's fine. It's a decent supporting cast, but the offensive line is horrendous. It's terrible. No help in front of them. I don't have much faith in the defense really either. There's some good pieces, but I don't have much faith in it as a group. I think the Bears are going to be absolutely horrible this year. One of the worst teams in the league, bottom 5 team in the league, and it's not going to be Justin Fields' fault. He's going to do everything he can, but I got him pretty low on my list of second-year quarterbacks because I think it's going to be kind of like a Davis Mills thing where I think Davis Mills' stats are going to be inflated on the bad side because he has to do too much. And I think it's the same thing with Justin Fields. He's going to have higher interceptions because he has to take more chances. He's going to fumble the ball more. He's going to take more sacks and do all these types of things because he has no choice.
I think, though, with that being said, I agree the Davis Mills comparison when it comes to actual production on field between these two could very well be the case. However, I feel the big difference between those two is I think Justin Fields is going to prove himself as a truly talented NFL quarterback. I think he is going to be that shining light of this dark pit of a football team. And this similar situation to Trevor Lawrence, where it continues to make me nervous because the team just decides not to invest in the quarterback.
Yep.
Like, there's so much more they could have done. We see how the Jets did it. We saw how Cincinnati did it surrounding Burrow with the likes of Jamar Chase and T. Higgins in that same draft as Burrow. And then they went out and got offensive line this year. So I think when you think you have the quarterback, and I surely hope that when you're taking a guy in the top 10 picks, you think you have the guy, you should do everything you can to build around them, and both of those teams decided not to.
That's fair.
Finally, let's go to your
number
number one of your sophomore quarterbacks, and that's out of the Bay Area, Trey Lance,
who I think has at least equal chance to be a top 5 quarterback as Trevor Lawrence does in the NFL. I've got him as my number one second-year quarterback for a multitude of reasons. He's in the best situation of all 6 of these quarterbacks, in my opinion. Like you'd have to say that's at least fair.
When it comes to winning?
When it comes to just the whole roster that's around them, the supporting cast, the coaching staff.
Okay, you put coaching staff in there. I'd agree.
Yeah,
yep.
all of the whole supporting cast that Trevor Lawrence, that definitely not the case. That Trey Lance has. It's very clear that he's set up with the best chance to succeed. He's got a very volatile possibility of outcomes. He could end up being a superstar. He could end up being a bust because he is a lower level quarterback coming from FCS, and there's not a lot of those guys that turn into studs. But even the quarterback in front of him last year, Jimmy Garoppolo, they took him to the NFC Championship game. He's an FCS quarterback. Carson Wentz was an FCS quarterback. He was a second overall pick, showed some good signs early in his career before he got hurt. I see too much talent. We saw him do it, minimal in the NFL because he didn't get a lot of chances, but he made some great throws. He made some great reads and ran the ball. He scrambled. He did a lot of things to give you optimism. Sure, he had some downs like every other rookie quarterback did this year too, but he showed enough where it really just kept my level of faith in him, maybe even raised it a little bit. I just think that everything around him, it's just too good for him not to succeed. If he fails, then he's no good. Like if it does not work out, he either hopefully does not have a bad injury, but if it doesn't work, it has to be because he's just not good enough. And I don't see that being the case because I've watched the guy play and I just see too much there. I see him making reads. I think his inaccuracy is way overblown. I think he's a much more accurate quarterback than people think he is. And then just in terms of a runner, I mean, he's a top 5 runner at worst in the quarterback position in the NFL. It's just everything is right there. If it translates, then you got an absolute superstar type guy in your hands.
Very quickly, completion percentage out of the 6 guys, Trey Lance is the lowest.
Yeah, I don't doubt it.
I think you said there's 2 possible outcomes for Trey Lance, and I feel like you're missing the one that I at least think is the most likely situation, and that's I think Trey Lance is going to have his rookie season this year. I think he's going to show some flashes. I think he's going to make some mistakes, and I get that sounded weird. He's going to have his rookie season, but I think his performance on the field is going to look like what a standard rookie performance would. I don't think he's going to blow up and turn into this top 8 quarterback and be one of the best fantasy assets in the whole wide world. But I don't think he's going to be a bust. I think he's going to show a lot of upside, but I think a guy that could put up, I don't know, between 22 and 28 touchdowns with 14 picks, I think that's a pretty acceptable year for a guy who didn't play at all in his first season. I think it's just the comparisons to the likes of Patrick Mahomes and how he came in after sitting for a year. I don't think Trey Lance bursts up to that level that Mahomes did in season 2.
You can't expect a quarterback to throw 50 touchdowns in their second year. That was unheard of. Mm-hmm. So that's definitely fair. And if he throws, you said 24 to 28. I
said 22 to 28 touchdowns. Yeah.
Even if it's 22 to 14, that is a very nice rookie season for a quarterback. So if you consider this rookie season, then that's absolutely fair. But I've got him. The interceptions might be around there, but I've just got him being even more of a scorer than that because I think this is going to be a pretty high scoring offense at the end of the day because the defense is going to put them in such great positions to score. It's really the biggest benefit for Trey Lance. It's going to be a hell of a confidence booster, and he's just everything around him is just so set up for success that it's so hard to imagine him failing. Really,
same with Zach Wilson.
I can't disagree. If Zach Wilson,
disagree. So you agree? Let's go. We got him.
It's Zach Wilson. I don't think it's impossible. I just can't get there quite yet. I truly think one more year with just a little more maturity from those players, from the younger guys, and it'll all be good.
I think that both guys are in phenomenal positions to take that year 2 step in comparison to the other situations. And I really hope that we see all 6 of these guys step up and have huge performances because what a talented class coming out last year. And even though it was a rough rookie season for pretty much all of them,
I know
they at least showed flashes. So,
this year makes you want to never trust a rookie quarterback class again. And then you see the draft class this year. It makes you really want to never trust a rookie quarterback class again. But then next year, we're going to see 6 go in the first round, and then we'll be back in love.
Yeah. So that is why that is our number 3 storyline. Let's now move into our number 2. Chase, that is yours.
Yeah, so this one, I could really take this a couple of routes, but really what it comes down to, the Detroit Lions, year 2 with Dan Campbell running the show. It's exciting. They're getting a lot of national praise, a lot more than I thought they were going to in year 2. Like, people are like, the Lions, they did a hell of a job in the draft, which I think they did a pretty damn good job in the draft at the end of the day. I didn't love the James Williams pick at first, but I sit back and think about it, and he is someone who has a legitimate high ceiling. That's the type of guy you take at that pick where they are. So that's fair. You look at the free agency, they didn't add too much, but they kept all their main guys. Jared Goff played really strong actually at the end of the year. The last 4 to 6 games, he played pretty well. So if all of that momentum continues to ride, Jared Goff plays at that level that he did last year at the end of the season. I mean, the Lions are a team that I'm not saying they're gonna go 12-5 and win the division, but they're a team that's they're winning an extra 5 football games if that's the case. It's legitimately possible. They got the best player in the draft, Aiden Hutchinson, at 2 overall. What a mistake by the Jags there too. That would have made the Jags so much better. What a joke. But anyway, shout out to the Jags for doing that. So happy. Aiden Hutchinson is gonna be an absolute dog. We got Jeff Okudah coming back from injury. Hopefully he can rehab from that well. Just everything about the team, the staff is really impressive, getting a lot of praise. Aaron Glenn is, after 1 year being a DC, was getting head coach interviews. He's going to be a head coach after the season. I almost guarantee it. Unless the defense is just so embarrassingly bad, he's going to be an NFL head coach next season. It's just an impressive staff, a nice young group of guys, quarterbacks that they have maybe more belief in than most teams do with their quarterbacks. They talk about how much he is the guy, and it's just not even a question. They don't want to move on. They're not even thinking about moving on. They've got that much faith in him. It makes Lions fans just have that kind of blind faith in him too, because coming in, going from Stafford to Goff, it's a big drop. Mm-hmm. And Goff, start of the year looked like he just didn't really want it, but at the end of the season, it looked like he accepted he was here, he was more comfortable, and he wanted it more, and he looked a lot better. So I've got that faith. I really am banking on the Lions being a potential 7-win team here. And if they get 7 wins, I consider that a successful season. If they get anything more than that, I'm going to be really happy. If they flop, I'm going to cry and never have faith in this team ever again. But the amount of national attention they're getting, I don't think I've ever really seen this much from the Lions.
Mm-hmm. I don't think they're going to flop. I don't.
I hope not. I hope not. Oh, I hope not.
I think you guys got the right staff. Dan Campbell, even though I don't necessarily think some of his play calls are the best, I think just the atmosphere that he brings to that locker room.
It's not going to be him calling plays this season anyway.
But still, even though, Dan Campbell, I think he's not the perfect coach, But I think the atmosphere that he can implement to the locker room, and we saw it play out on the field in every single game, the never die attitude, that is something that you want to build your culture around. So I think that's awesome to see with Dan Campbell.
So it really just look at coaches in the NFL, just based on seeing how players respond and the talent on roster and how the games play, blah, blah, blah. How many more coaches are there that guys want to play for than Dan Campbell? You see him, it's we can't give up in this game. We have to do everything we can to not let him down. There's not really many more coaches that I think, based on what I've seen, that are like that. Like players just, they want to play for Dan. Some of the free, like DJ Chark, is already coming in and talking about why he came here, because of the culture, because of what he saw last year, because of the potential. The guys that stuck around because they're just we believe in this, more than we've believed in anywhere else in our career. It's really the first time that I've been seeing this type of stuff and truly believing it.
Yeah, I think Sean McVay is another one of those guys.
Yeah.
That's why there's so many LA Ram hires, because they want the McVay culture to be implemented into their own room. I think you can put him in the same conversation. Really like Dan Campbell, really like what the front office is doing. This, to me, though, feels like what the Detroit Red Wings did this year, where some of their young players are very talented, show that, okay, we've got a bright future, but it's not enough to put them in that playoff picture.
Yeah.
And Even though there's like excitement around both, Moritz Seider and Lucas Raymond.
Rookie of the year, baby. Let's go.
There's some excitement in both rooms, on the ice and on the turf. I don't think that there's enough talent yet to really put them to that next level. So I think it's going to be a very fun season and a very uplifting season for Lions fans. And as long as you don't, expect something huge, I think there's no way you can be disappointed.
That's fair.
All right, final storyline, and I'm going to try to make this somewhat quick. I've got it here as rookie class, which means it could be anything, Chase.
I know.
We're actually going to look at the quarterbacks because I legitimately think that the top 5 quarterbacks in this class could all be starting by the end of the year. Let's take a look at them. You got Kenny Pickett, first round. Obviously, he's going to be playing.
He will be playing this year.
Mitchell Trubisky, Mason Rudolph, that's his competition.
Yeah, I think Trubisky, I truly think Trubisky starts week 1. Mm-hmm. I don't think he starts week 4.
I saw people talking about Mason Rudolph is the sure starter for week 1. I'm like,
Mason Rudolph is so bad. He is sure to start as a scratch. Yeah.
He's so bad.
He's sure to start not dressing.
Let's not talk about Desmond Ridder. He's got to verse Marcus Mariota. Which
he's once they realize they're out of the playoff hunt, like when they're gonna be like 1-5, he's getting the job.
Mm-hmm. Then Matt Corral versus Sam Darnold.
If they don't trade for Baker, Matt Corral might beat out Darnold week 1.
Mm-hmm. The last two are a little bit more of a stretch, but you got Sam Howell and Carson Wentz. A lot of people not big fans of Carson Wentz. I think that they're gonna try to keep Wentz going for the long run.
Yeah,
he's gonna give them a better chance to win off the bat, and they went out and paid draft capital for him. So I think he's gonna stay there. But it wouldn't shock me whatsoever if Carson Wentz has a couple bad weeks. They lean on Sam Howell.
Like right now, I've got the Washington football team, Washington Commanders, whatever the hell they are.
I was going to call them Guardians again. Yeah. Not going to lie.
I got them at 5-12. So if that happens, like he's starting Howell starting them probably the last 2 weeks of the season.
So you're against Chase Young. You hate him now?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, nice. And then finally, Malik Willis and Ryan Tannehill.
Tannehill sucks.
This is the furthest stretch for me.
Tannehill sucks. Malik Willis should play.
Tannehill, especially in the playoffs against the Bengals, really showed his true colors. Not great.
You want to hear where I have the Titans at this year?
6-11,
5-12.
Oh,
I am so unbelievably out on the Vikings this year. It's not even funny.
Vikings?
The Titans this year. It's not even funny.
The Vikings too.
Yeah, the Vikings. Screw them. But it just I look at the team. It's like I kind of thought it last year too. Like, how do they win so many games? And I think it's gonna be the same thing. I think Tannehill's just going down. Derrick Henry.
I think he regresses.
Like he has to. Mm-hmm. And without them playing high level, like it's going to drop off because the defense isn't going to be as good as last year. Like it's just not going to be. Like defenses go through a lot of waves like that. I don't see a lot of path of success. So at that point, Tannehill was a college receiver. Maybe just transition him to receiver. Let Malik Willis go and play quarterback.
There you go. I don't think this is going to be a storyline to look out for on day one, but this is when you bank it. And towards, week 14, week 15, you look around.
It's a long haul. It's a long haul storyline.
Now, I'm not promising this is going to happen or anything, but it's one that I'm interested in, keeping an eye on.
Well, I guarantee you at least the first 5 play snaps. I guarantee you also at least 3 of them play meaningful snaps. Like they play like multiple games.
The reason I didn't want to guarantee anything is because, Graham's watching with his take tracker.
Yeah, I'll be in there. I'll be in there.
Unless we had a specific take, like Chase just did, all of these storylines are just things we're excited to watch.
Yeah.
Not us predicting anything. So, Graham?
You can delete what you just added.
Yeah, exactly. But those are our top 5 storylines to look forward to. Very excited to watch all of these play out to our exact predictions. And there's so much more to look forward to in the NFL season. Including Burrow Revenge Tour. Mm-hmm. That was one of mine that we didn't use. But anyways.
Revenge Tour.
That's it.
You're silly.
That's it.
What's his revenge that he blew it in the Super Bowl?
Well,
his revenge against his terrible head coach for putting in Samaje Perine as the 4th down back?
Yeah, terrible head coach that made it to the Super Bowl.
Joe Burrow made it to the Super Bowl, not frickin' Zach Taylor.
Hey, everyone says Jared Goff took the Rams to the Super Bowl.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
I heard that today when I was watching a video. I'm like,
no. Jared Goff was on a team that went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That's all that happened.
Just like Joe Burrow, because Zach Taylor, the real GOAT.
No.
Mm-hmm. He's one of those guys, Dan Campbell.
No.
All right, well, that's going to do it for the show. I want to thank you so much for coming out and giving it a listen. If you want to stay up to date with all that we do, you can follow us on Twitter at WNP Sports Pod. That's again on Twitter at WNP Sports Pod. Chase, we also have a Facebook. You got this one? Instagram. We also have a TikTok, but I've gotten locked out of it. I don't know the password for some reason. So I'll figure that out.
Did you get a new phone or something? How did you get locked out of it?
I deleted TikTok, remember?
Oh, yeah.
So,
you forgot you had your business account there.
Yeah, exactly. So I will get access to that, and we will be posting again on TikTok very soon.
What a Mike thing to do.
If you're watching on YouTube, if you could please give us a like, comment, subscribe. We would really appreciate it. Hit the bell to turn on notifications. And then down in the comments below, let us know your favorite storyline you're looking forward to. Doesn't have to be one of our 5. Could be one of yours specifically. For example, if you're a Raiders fan, maybe you think they're going to win the Super Bowl. Not going to happen, but go ahead. Let us know down below. And if you are listening on a podcast platform, if you could, please give us a follow and a 5-star rating. I want to thank you so much for coming out and giving us a listen. And as always, we're not professionals.